Good evening. I'm Sonia Samtani, your host for the next 5 to 7 minutes, bringing you authentic conversations behind the mask. Today, I'm going to reveal what is behind the mask in our relationships and the conflicts that we face. But first, let's spend a little bit of time understanding ourselves. So, what usually goes on behind the scene for most of us are feelings and beliefs about ourselves that we don't want to admit. So we keep them buried deep inside our system and hope that it stays there. I'm talking about feelings like being unaccepted, unwanted, feeling like a loser, feeling unintelligent, or feeling stupid. Now, the truth is, these feelings rarely ever stay buried. So suppressing them won't make them go away. What happens is they stay below the surface waiting to come out. And usually when we least want it or expect it, something will trigger us, like suddenly being asked to speak up in a group of people. And then voila, these feelings are present again. So if you notice the feelings that I shared of being unaccepted, unwanted, loser, unintelligent, stupid, these feelings relate to either how unaccepted or unsuccessful we feel. And hence the root of most of our core negative feelings that we have suppressed in us is either about feeling rejected or feeling like a failure. This is basically what it boils down to for most of us. And from my experience of working with people, I would say about 50% of us have the rejection trigger, where we feel unaccepted and rejected, and 50% of us have the failure trigger, where something will cause us to feel like a failure inside, and we try to hide that. And the irony is that it's usually both these people that end up marrying each other and then triggering each other. So the one with the rejected trigger usually wants a lot of reassurance, time, and acknowledgement from their partner, so that they can overcompensate for inherently feeling not accepted. And the one with the failure trigger usually takes up more projects than they can handle. They spend a lot of time prioritizing work, and they keep thinking about how they can be more successful to overcompensate for feeling like a failure deep inside. So notice it's not about their partner. So it's never about our spouse, it's about us and our feelings that we're burying. So in these relationships, you have one person that's slowly becoming more needy for constant affection and acceptance, and the other one becoming more distant and needing more space to prove themselves so that they can feel successful. So if one is drawing closer and the other one is wanting distance, slowly hell breaks loose in the relationship. Both people are frustrated and nobody's needs are met. Does that sound familiar? Well, hearing this, it may sound to you that the woman is the one that needs more acceptance and the man is the one that needs more success. However, this is not necessarily true. Enough studies have shown us that both men and women can fit into both categories. And it really depends on what your upbringing is and what you needed to prove to feel good enough as a child. So the way to deal with this consciously is to realize that the ultimate judge of either feeling rejected or like a failure is you. You have judged and rejected yourself in the past, or you have put yourself down for being a failure in the past. To you, in your mind, it may seem like, no, it was not me. It was my mother or my father or my teacher or society. But the thing is that you're responsible for part of it because you chose to mirror that voice in your head. You chose to agree with them. And then you chose to agree that you are rejected or you are a failure, and you are still doing that now. So in relationships, one of the crucial points to realize is that your partner probably has the opposite need and value to yourself. And then the journey is to accept that without judging it. Perhaps then we can begin to love our partner the way that they want to be loved. And then for ourselves, realize that unconsciously we have been the biggest critic. We have been the ones that are rejecting ourselves, that are constantly saying to us that I'm a failure. So why not understand this, realize this, and forgive ourselves, for we did not know any better at the time. And once that happens, we can accept and acknowledge that part of us that is deeply craving this acceptance and acknowledgement inside. So accept that part of us that's craving that acceptance for us. Acknowledge that part of us that is craving feeling acknowledged and not like a failure. So I invite you all to be sensitive to yourselves and your partners and begin to accept your differences so that there's no need to suppress and hide these uncomfortable feelings anymore.